Hey, you're going to love these. These are cheesy asparagus tarts and puff pastry. Asparagus, bacon, cheese, mushrooms, onions. I mean, come on, what's not to love? And hang on, because I'm going to make this for you right now. Hey, welcome to Secret Kitchens of New Jersey. Today we're going to make a really beautiful cheesy asparagus tart. You can use it for an appetizer, you can have lunch, you can bring it somewhere. You'd be lucky if somebody brought it to you. In fact, I'm going to be making 2 of these today. So I have double the ingredients. Of course, all the specs, directions, etc. will be in the comments. So we're starting out with, I've got a piece of puff pastry. You know I love puff pastry. And you know what I need? I need a fork. So my puff pastry is thawed. I just took it out of the refrig. I've got asparagus, mozzarella cheese. I've got some cooked bacon, some sautéed leeks, and some mushrooms that I sliced really nice and thin, some Gruyere cheese, and some Dijon mustard. A lot of good stuff going in here. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to flatten out my piece of puff pastry just a little bit. And I have it on a piece of parchment just to make it easier to transfer to my baking dish. My oven is preheating to 400 degrees. So what I'm going to do though, I'm going to take my knife and I'm just going to do like about a ½ inch all around, not cutting through it, just drawing a line, because that's going to make this look really nice once it puffs up. That's all I did. All right, then I'm going to just take a fork, and I'm doing this because I don't want the base of it to puff up too much. Hey, you know about my love for puff pastry, so I hope you started stocking it like I do. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I've got my Dijon mustard, and this is just kind of a base layer because I just love the flavor of it, you know, that wonderful tang, and I think it's going to, well, I know it's going to be delicious. This is kind of, in my mind, one of these no recipe recipes. You remember, a recipe is a guide, that's all it is. And in this case, you can change this around as much as you might want to. You don't have to do it exactly like I'm doing it. Although it's going to be pretty good if you do it my way. All right, so that's pretty good right there. So I've got my pastry. I've got my pastry brush. I've got my Dijon mustard. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Gruyere, and this is about 4 ounces. And remember, I'm going to be making 2 of these. I'm just going to grate some. So I'm putting this on the bottom. And like I said, I'm making 2 of these, so I want to make sure I have enough. If you don't like Gruyere, use a different cheese. You could use cheddar, you could use Swiss. Oh God, there's so many options. I like the nuttiness of the Gruyere. I like the flavor of it. Okay, you could use more or less. In fact, speaking of more or less, let's go with a little more. Okay, so there is my Gruyere. Let's get this out of our way. All right, so now what I want to do on top of that, I've got some sautéed leeks. Just put a little color on them and soften them up. I'm not caramelizing them. You could use an onion. Doesn't have to be a leek. I just happen to have it. I'm going to make a layer of this on the bottom. Okay, not a ton. All right, next we've got some bacon. Now, honestly, I don't cook a lot with bacon, but somehow I felt like this needed that little bit of that smoky umami that only bacon can deliver. So I took, this is 4 strips of bacon, cut it up and got it nicely, put it in a cold pan, took about 15 minutes, rendered out most of the fat, and left me with nice crispy bits of bacon. And the bacon's not the star of the show, it's the supporting character. But I do like that little flavor, that smokiness that I think only bacon can really deliver. Okay, then what we're gonna do, now we've got our mushrooms and our asparagus, and I'm going to put the asparagus all the way on the top. So let me put down some mushrooms, and I cut them nice and thin because I want them to, you know, cook through. If you wanted to saute them first, I guess you could do that. I didn't bother. All right, so here's my mushrooms. You know, we're laying these out. We're not being really precious about how many exactly, because this is, like I said, one of my favorite no recipe kinds of recipes. All right, so now what I want to do before I put on my asparagus, it's holiday time, and you know, this stuff's all over the stores now, and I want to make, you can go many different ways with the flavor profile, but I want to give this all those Thanksgiving vibes. So it's in here actually. The box was leaking. All right, so what I'm going to do is, let me get a spoon, and I am just going to kind of sprinkle this all over. I feel like this is going to really give you some Thanksgiving vibes. There you go. There you go. All right. I like that stuff, so I probably have a good tablespoon's worth of it on here. And you know what else? Let me crack some pepper on top of this. All right. Some black pepper. All right, now let's lay out our string beans. I cut these are nice.
They're not string beans.
Oh God, string beans, asparagus. I said string beans. I saw the green. So these are nice and thin asparagus. So I know they're going to cook quickly in the oven, and I'm just going to lay them out. Again, not being super precious. It doesn't matter. All right, this is pretty good. And of course, I cut off any of the woody ends on the asparagus. All right, that looks good to me. So now to kind of bring it all together, mozzarella cheese. And the cheese is going to be like a glue. It's going to hold down the asparagus. How much of this? Oh, my feeling is this much. It's probably, I'm going to wind up using about a cup of mozzarella cheese. All right, this is going to go in the oven. My oven is at 400 degrees. This is going to go in the oven like, I'm going to say about 20 minutes. I'm going to check it at 15 minutes because I don't want it to burn, but I want everything to get, you know, nice and bubbly hot. If you really wanted to, I'm just not doing this today. You could do an egg wash around the edges of this, but I'm just not going to bother doing that today. All right, let me get this in the oven, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Look at these. They're awesome. So my cheesy asparagus tarts were in the oven like about, I'm going to say it was about like 18, 20 minutes, that kind of a thing. Again, I didn't want it to get, you don't want them to burn. But I just want to show you something. You see on this one that it got kind of puffed up? So if you remember on the first one, I was docking this one with a fork, just stabbing it to make some holes in it so it doesn't puff up too much. And I didn't do it on this one, and that's why it puffed up. It's still going to be delicious. That's all there is to it. All right, there's only one thing left to do, and that's taste these things. So let me just cut this one. Hey, Mr. Cameraman, take a look at that. That looks pretty darn good, right? I just got a piece of bacon. It's cheesy. Get that little bit of tang from the Dijon mustard, which is on the bottom. I mean, everything is perfectly cooked. The mushrooms, oh my God, it's fantastic. I mean, tell me this isn't something you would love to serve to your family or friends for just about any occasion of all. You're gonna do this. This is good. Hey, thank you for your support. Because of all of you out there, we finally reached more than 500 subscribers, I'm really proud of that, and I appreciate every one of you. So continue to like and subscribe. We're so appreciative. And you know what? We'll see you next time on Secret Kitchens of New Jersey. Until the next time, get in the kitchen and cook or bake and just enjoy yourself. See you next time.